Hi friends, welcome to a new weekly vlog and a week where we're just gonna be focusing on series. So as you might know, this year in 2025, we are really focused on trying to read as many series as possible and just like getting caught up on things, not having like 100 ongoing series like I do right now. So we're taking a week every month and just kind of 100% focusing on sequels and just really trying to focus on finishing off what we can. It's Saturday now. We'll just be going over the next week in our life and trying to read as much as possible. So I do have three. I have three that are going to be the priority focus / also some others 100%. I'll go over a few that I have on Kindle after that. But physically, what I really quickly have. So The Dark Forest by Cixin Liu. This is book 2 in the 3-body problem, and I am over halfway through. Really into this one right now, and really want to finish it off, continue it. So I want to do this one, and then I own the third one, so we want to make progress. And I'll talk more about these when I come to them. Right now, we're just going to really quickly talk about what I want to read. So next off, have Deadly Dreams, book 3 in the Fortuna Sworn series, which is a fantasy romance. I am, I don't know, like a third way of being into it. Want to do this one. I own the first 5, so you know, let's catch up on that. And then another one I am dying to get to because I read the first book in this series last month. This is A Closed and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers, and it is book 2 in her, I think they're called Wayfarer series, but they're really cozy sci-fi books that I'm dying to get to this one because I gave book 1 5 stars and I can't wait. And then otherwise, the only one that is coming to my mind that I'm like desperate to get to is the next Dungeon Crawler Carl book, because if you might be aware, I am obsessed with that series and I've been low-key binging them. I'm like I feel like I have an addiction. I have a problem because I'm like forcing myself to take several weeks in between every one of the books so that I don't like binge through all 7 of the ones that are out right now in like a crazy time. So I'm reading book 4, I think it's book 4, The Gate of Feral Gods right now, and I'm 39% into it, and I am obsessed with this series. Love it so like ridiculously much. So yeah, like really want to get to that one this week. So otherwise, it is Saturday right now. We'll be doing this for the next week. Just wanted to quickly do an intro right now before my husband and I head out for a games night, and yeah, I'll check in later. Yeah, these will be the focus. We'll see what else we can get to, but let's just try and read as many series as possible this week. All right, we're just gonna ignore the fact that I haven't updated in a few days. Yeah, so we are off to a great start. Not really. It's been like a few days of just like complete non-productivity and non-wanting to, 1, read anything for this video, and 2, actually update on anything that I'm reading. But today I feel like I finally have a few little things that I can actually update on. Thank you, sit down. I feel like I finally have a few things I can actually update on. So first of all, I am making really good progress into The Dark Forest, and as you can see, I think I have about 70-ish pages left to go. Yeah, maybe 50. Like, not a crazy amount. And I'm really making a big push to try and finish this entire trilogy before the next season of the show comes out, because this, if you didn't know, is the sequel to The 3-Body Problem, which is sci-fi about kind of like an alien invasion, potential alien invasion, and Earth's response to it, and how they're kind of like creating different options on how they're potentially going to take down the species that have indicated that they're planning to come to Earth and basically, like, I think annihilate the human population / take over and all of these things. So this is book 2, and I really enjoy books. First of all, I really enjoyed the show as well, and I know season 2 is coming soon. I don't know when. I literally only know because my friend told me that season 2 is coming soon, but I'm really excited because I really enjoyed the show. So the first season of the show took place season 1, or book 1 and part of book 2. So, you know, want to finish this one, and then because I don't know how much of the story, like if it's going to cover season in book 3 or whatever. So I feel like I want to have it all done, so I'm not getting spoiled by anything. But in this one, we are following this alien threat, and one of the responses that humanity has decided to undertake is this thing called the wall facer program, where basically these aliens, they have these different like particles in the solar system that are able to essentially observe anything that people are doing and really like get a sense of, I mean, any plan that Earth potentially could have. They're able to like immediately see what it is and react to it. So the UN has created this wall facer program where basically 4 people are designated like ultimate power, and the goal of coming up with a solution to how to defeat the aliens / protector. And they're given like sole power by the UN to do whatever they want with no legal comments, no basically every resource available to them. But it's on the condition that they are supposed to be coming up with these plans and executing them like without anybody else being aware. So each of these people, they're coming up with all these ideas, they're creating like fake plans and their real plan, and they have all these different like things going on. And we're following a few of the people as they become wall facers and started the plans that they're trying to set in motion and those kind of things. And then also like basically just what is happening on Earth as well to deal with this potential threat. And I'm really enjoying this one. There's a little bit of sciencey things in it that I'm not 100% understanding, which kind of like, and I do feel like I need to do a little bit more research on some of the concepts that I'm not 100% getting, but I do quite enjoy these series overall. Like I just love a really good sci-fi story. These are very grounded in science and just exploring different ideas. So I found them pretty fun. So yeah, should be able to finish this one off tonight. I really hope that I can. And otherwise, I've been continuing on the next Dungeon Crawler Carl book, so The Gate of Feral Gods. When I first started this video, I think I was 39% in, now I'm about 52. So not making crazy progress in that. I'll talk a bit more about it later, but we're in a really interesting like level in this one. So I'll come back later and talk a bit more about that when I have a little bit more progress. And I've also been listening to Fool's Errand by Robin Hobb. So this is, I guess, book 7 within her Realm of the Elderlings series, which is a series of multiple series within it. So there's several different trilogies that are all taking place within this same world that are all overlapping. And this is the 3rd trilogy within this world. And I do have a goal to kind of like try to make my way through all of these and potentially finish off the entire Realm of the Elderlings series at some point this year. So I really need to get to that, and started listening to Fool's Errand. So I don't know how far, like one thing I really don't like about Audible is that they don't give you the percentage that you are the way through a book. They just give you like hours remaining. But I think I'm about 3 hours into the audiobook and I'm enjoying it. But my issue with these is like, so every second series within this world follows like this one main character, and I'm interested in him, but I'm not like overly interested. Like I do think that he is kind of like one of my least favorite things to follow. I think that there's much more interesting things that happen in like the second series. The Ship of Magic series was like one of the best things I've ever read, and I kind of wish that we just had more things happening in like those types of worlds and those types of stories. So yeah, I'm making my way through this one, but I do have to say I'm like not super invested right now. It's it's like I feel like a very slow character focused book, and I struggle with that. I do definitely prefer like more action sequences happening. So it's not necessarily like the most fun that I'm having right now with this one. I know it will get better, but it's just like it's starting off very slow, and we're taking a lot of time to really set up the. So I'm gonna be continuing on in those. I'll hopefully finish this off tonight, and I'll come back later a bit more about the Dungeon Crawler Carl book too as I make a bit more progress. Okay, so I finally finished The Darkest, and oh man, this one went in such a good direction. So I feel like the majority of this book I was kind of just like it was fine. Like there was parts that were interesting, then a lot of parts that were dragging, and like it was really like kind of floating between that where like certain parts were amazing and then I don't know, like I wasn't as invested for a lot of it. But I'd say like these last 50 pages, there were a few revelations that just made the story like perfectly come together in my mind and revealed a few things that I will say I was a little confused about, but then ended up like perfectly clearing up certain things. And oh my god, it just made me so intensely excited to get to the next one, and really brought forward some things that like if they are addressed in the next one, I think could be truly insane and like really bring this story to like a wild level. Just like things that are so exciting to potentially see. So many like just like potential repercussions of some of the things we learned, and like finally understood there was like some weird shit that was happening that I was like, okay, this makes no sense. I was like, I don't know if I misread things, if I didn't understand the explanation, but then like finally came together and oh my god, so good. So yeah, it's gonna be 4 stars, not quite enough for a 5, just because I think there were a lot of parts that were lacking, a lot of parts that I didn't necessarily enjoy, but just seeing how things came together really made such a difference for me. And I've been doing like decent progress in some other stuff. So I listened to another like 3 chapters of Fool's Errand, really trying to make a push that I can actually get through this one because there's still like 9 hours to go. Like there's a lot. This is a long book, but I'm starting to get a little bit more into it from where I was at least. So we have that. Read about another 100 pages of Deadly Dreams, the Fortuna Swarm book. That one's finally starting to pick up as well. So like that one's getting more exciting. And then I picked up, I forgot the name of the book, but it's the 3rd book in a Holly Renee series. And I'm not sure if this is the last book, like if it's going to be a trilogy, but either way, it's the most up-to-date one. So I'll be once again like up-to-date in this series once I finish it. And yeah, that was just like a kind of decent fantasy romance series. I'm not super invested, but I did enjoy the 1st book quite a bit. Didn't like the 2nd one, but I'm kind of hoping that maybe the 3rd one will pull it back together and I'll get more into it again. But it's one that I just want to continue on in anyways, have another series checked off. So I'll talk more about that later, I guess. But yeah, otherwise we're just slowly making progress on things. Biggest thing, I'm really happy that we finally finished Dark Forest and finally like actually making some progress in some of the books that we're reading. So there's that. Okay, so finished The Rival to Crown. That was one that I just like very randomly decided to pick up. Just it popped up on my Kindle that it was in, and I decided, hey, why not? I just spilled coffee. No, thank God. So this is book 3 in a series, and I'm like 99% sure now that this will be the final one. But basically, we are following the princess of this realm. She has no power and is basically has been abused by her father, the king, her entire life because of this. He thought that he could like beat power into her or something. Like there's all these magical powers. So she runs away and then quickly gets drawn into this rebel group where she stays with them and like kind of just pretends to be a normal person, pretends that she is not part of this, or pretends that she's not a princess, and just kind of plays off that she wants to be a recruit for this rebel group, and at the same time kind of starts a romance with the rebel son's leader who is in charge of like ends up being in charge of her training, and they have a bit of a bully romance, but it ends up being like very intense, very spicy. I enjoyed the 1st book a lot. 2nd book, blah, and then this one I will say enjoyed it a little bit more than the 2nd, but by far the best one in the series was the 1st book. So Holly Renee is an author that I've read a few other things from her before, and like I wouldn't say any of them necessarily stood out to me. Like all of them have kind of been just a bit blah for me in general. And there's always something that doesn't quite work. Like the writing just does not quite add up to how I'm thinking or wanted it to be. So there's that, but I'm done that one. I'm gonna give it a 3 star. Like it in general was interesting. It got us to a like at least it was introducing new things in this one. Like it had things happening, which I don't know, like I found the 2nd book was just really like it felt like it was just very much in waiting mode. Like we were going from one place to another. Oh, this person might be the betrayer, this one. And the 2nd book just wasn't very fun that way, but this one did redeem it a bit. So yeah, that one's 3 stars. That series we can check off as being done. Overall, decent. It was decent. Not one that I would say was my favorite, but definitely one that I think like is a fun quick read. And I'm gonna start doing videos of like completed romantasy series. I filmed one of them yesterday, but I'm gonna start doing videos like every time I have a list of series that I completed that are complete series, I'm gonna come up with a video doing that where it's like here's 10 romantasy series that are perfect to binge and that are complete and that you can just like really get into. And I think this one's great because they're all fast-paced, they are all relatively fun, and you know, like sometimes that's all you want is just a quick fast-paced read that doesn't require too much brain power. So there we go. And there's that one. So other things I've been reading, I'm still listening to Fool's Errand, and I have about 3.5 hours left in the audiobook, which I think the audiobook was 12 hours in total. I also listened to like 2 books on like 2.3 speeds. So that is like significantly less time than the actual length of the audiobook. That makes sense. But I think I have about 3 hours left in that. And I'm enjoying this a decent amount, but I do have to say, like, I'm not like deeply enthralled in the story. That makes sense. Like, I'm enjoying it for sure, but at the same time, like, something is not quite 100% there for me. And I think it's just like, I don't necessarily love Fitz as a main character, which is crazy to say, but I'm not as invested in his story. And I really enjoy this world as a whole because there's so many like sub-series within this. We're following a huge, vast amount of stories within this world. And every second series within this overarching world follows Fitz, who is a royal bastard. He was previously a royal assassin. And when we catch up with him now, he's been about 15 years out of the game. He's been living in a cottage. He's just there. He's raising this orphan boy that he found and is living like a very, very quiet life. And then stuff happens where he ends up being brought back to the capital city and basically asked to do a favor for the queen so that just to help her out with something that's going on with her son. And we're on that adventure now where he is going on an adventure to track someone down. And like, it's interesting, like at least the action is happening now. Whereas I would say like the first half of the book felt like nothing was happening. It was very much just like, here's Fitz's sad, lonely life. And here's just the small things that he does every day. And like, doesn't have too much happening. But now there's actually action in all of these. But unfortunately, at the same time, I would say that the action is not necessarily compelling to me. Like, they're just going on a journey, following tracks, doing this, and nothing about it seems super thrilling. And I genuinely think it's just like, I'm not that invested in Fitz as a character. Like, there's certain things that have happened that obviously, like, I feel for him. He's had some rough years throughout the books, but I don't know, like, he's not necessarily my favorite character, I would say. And yeah, so there's that. Continuing on in that one. And I have started another book. So another one of the huge fantasy worlds that I'm working through is Raymond D. Feist. He has I think it's called the Drift War Saga. So within that, there are many multiple series that are overarching like this main plot, which is basically this one civilization who has discovered the power to create portals within worlds to planets. And this main world has now basically been utilizing this technology to go in, invade planets, take their resources, take people as slaves, like do all these things. And the first book, Magician, was basically following like this one magician who had been abducted, brought who witnessed these portals come in, fought in this war, then was abducted and brought back to the home world of these people. And there's so many books in this. So I decided to follow the official reading order that the author has published. Oh my god, but it's like this official order that's basically just in timeline order. So this one, I'm now reading what is technically book 3 in a second trilogy, but it takes place like coherent in the same timeline basically as the first one, which I don't know if that makes any sense, but according to the official reading order, this was the next one to read. And it is called Jimmy the Hand. I'm enjoying this one a decent amount. I will say it's kind of just giving fun, silly adventure of a little thief within this world. We're just following Jimmy. He was in the first book, he was a side character in it, but he's a thief in the capital city of this world. And basically we're just following him on an adventure as this new ruler comes in and is imposing all these rules. And now he and one of his friends have left to go to a different city to try and help track down family. It's a fun time, but it's also like, I would say nothing that serious. So I'm reading that. I'm having fun. That one's a quick read. It's only 300 pages, but also no, I'm reading that in the background. Okay, randomly decided to start a new book, which is actually one on my TBR this month, so I'm feeling good about that. But, this is huge. Started The Toll by Neil Shusterman, which is book 3 in the Archetype trilogy, and I'm a little over halfway through. Good thing about this one, very quick read. Really enjoy this series, and like, this is a super quick read. It's this world where basically humanity's advanced to the point where they are able to live indefinitely. So there's nanites that are in people's bodies that repair all damage, and people age, but they're able to go get like an age reversal at whatever point that they want, basically to bring them back down to whatever age they want. So people can live indefinitely, and the entire world is governed by this overarching AI called the Thunderhead. So essentially we are living in a true utopia. And in order to basically still give people that sense of morality and keep population under control, there has been this group of people called the Scythes created who have the power to kill. And they have certain quotas they need to meet. Like they have to kill a certain amount of people per year. That's what a quota is. But they're basically the ones who like keep things moving. And we're basically in this series we're following, there were 2 novices under this one Scythe, and we're following their journey as one of them goes on to be Scythe and just on. And also as they get involved in the huge politics of this world, which even though the Scythes exist and in theory we're in this utopia, we quickly find out that in fact things are not as wonderful as it seems. Always the case in utopian books. But basically the Scythes themselves are extremely corrupt, and there are different world orders within. We're fighting for maybe we should do things like we should be able to kill who we want, what we want, how many times we want. We shouldn't have any restrictions. We have this power. We should be able to exercise it however we want. And then there's some more old guard thought of view who are like, this is a respectful thing we're doing. We should kill with respect. We should really like think of everything we do as such a like important thing. This is our given mission. And those 2 factions are like really fighting within. Book 2 ended on a crazy cliffhanger, and now we're basically jumping in 3 years later as things have drastic change within the world. And yeah, following from there. A lot of people don't seem to enjoy this one as much. I don't know why. Like I'm enjoying it completely fine. Maybe not as much as books 1 and 2, which are both 5-star, but like still enjoying this quite a bit. So I'm having a great time. Also, so these are special editions from Fairy Loot, and I saw that Illumicrate has come out the most gorgeous special editions I've ever seen, and I really want them. But like I can't justify it in my head because I already own these ones. But oh, they're super. If I can find a picture, I'll put it up. But like, oh, they are stunning, and I like desperately want them. Then otherwise, I have been continuing on Dungeon Crawler Crawl 4, which is Gate of Feral God. I'm 60-ish% into it right now, and like this one is so much fun. This whole series as a whole. Originally when I was saying like I was kind of want to like try and push off like reading as many of these books as possible and like really savor them. I don't think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm just gonna binge, because in like 3 weeks my husband and I are going on a rather long road trip, which there ends up being a 12-hour drive each way over the course of a week. And we've been talking about what audiobook to listen to. So he's right now reading or listening to Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson, and he was like, oh, we could just listen to that the whole way. It's your favorite book, blah blah blah, which like I really don't have any issue with that. But I also want to force him to listen to the first Dungeon Crawler Crawl book because I think he was obsessed, and I've heard the audiobooks are like the best thing ever. So I kind of really want to do that. But this one's fun. I think we're on the 4th floor of the dungeon or the 5th floor. I'm not sure which one. I always get it confused. But basically in this one, all of the crawlers have been grouped into groups of like 200 or so, where they're in basically these bubbles that have 4 layers, and there's an underground, a underwater, ground, and air. I think I did that terribly wrong. But each one, there's like say 50 people in each of these levels, and in order to beat this level and escape, they have to basically attack a castle within each of these worlds and win the castle. So when you win the castle, it will give you basically the stairway to the next level of this dungeon, but you have to be able to break all 4 of them to be able to like win this level in total. So the people within this bubble have to all work together to all 4 of these levels, and it is so fun. This one, like this whole series in general, I would say is major like video game vibes. Obviously like it's very RPG-esque, so you understand like it's very video gamey. But this one in particular, like this level, something about it is like so clearly giving me a video game. Like I think we are in a fantasy world. Like I'm thinking Final Fantasy for some reason. Like I can almost picture it in my head, and like just it's like we have these different levels, like you have to beat each level, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it so much. I really like cannot begin to explain how important this series has become for me. And like it's wild because I'm not even halfway through the books. The series isn't done. I've only been reading it for a few months, but it is very quickly becoming like one of my favorite things in the world, and it is absolutely making me want to just basically read lit RPG nonstop. I found another one that I'm trying to figure out. I think I'm going to do another video. Well, I have a video in mind where I'm going to be doing reading 1-star reviews, reading books based off their 1-star reviews, and I'm still devising a list for that. It's going to be quite a few months. But this one book, let me see if I can find the name. I know it's He Who Fights Monsters, and basically I was looking this up on Goodreads. So first of all, it looks amazing. The description sounds fantastic. Again, lit RPG. It sounds like a guy's basically just dropped into a video game. But the 1-star description that I saw was like, it's like this is the most pandering thing ever for atheist liberals, and it's like if you're like, it is 100% pandering to these people, and and all this shit, and everything about it. I was like, yep, this must be for me. So I'm so ridiculously excited to get to that one. I think there's like 12 installations out and it looks fantastic. So that's another one that I will eventually get to. I'm hoping to be able to film that probably in like the next 2 months or so. And I'm going to slowly compile like 1-star reviews that make me want to read a book, because just something about this review has made me want to read this book so insanely bad. But anyways, getting back to Dungeon Crawler Carl, I'm 60% into it, truly having the best time ever. And what I love so much about this one is like, we're not only focused on the dungeon itself, but we are also focused on this huge overarching world, this huge universe, and all these political factions that are fighting within it. And we're seeing these hints of things that are happening, and they're so good. And Carl, our main character, is such a fucking shithead, and he is just like, it's like, I refuse to play by the rules of what you guys are doing. I'm going to set my own path, and I highly disagree with all these things you guys are doing, and I'm going to make it known. And he's like, I don't even care if it like affects my life, if it causes me to die. So good. Oh my god. And also, if you've read this book, the scene with like the feet and the gerbils, I almost cried. I was laughing so hard. Like, I cannot express how much these books entertain me. Like, I die reading them. They are the funniest things I've ever read. I can't wait to listen to the audiobooks just for that. Sorry, it's long-winded, but I'm 60% into book 4. I want to finish it. I really want to binge it, but we'll see how it goes. But I really want to binge it today. Okay, so I am done Gate of the Pharaoh Gods. Let's see if I can fix this a little. Is that any better? Who knows? I think it's the exact same thing. So finish Gate of the Pharaoh Gods, which is Dungeon Crawler Carl book 4. And I mean, like, this is not a surprise to me. It's exactly what I expected. I'm giving it 5 stars, and that is what it rightfully deserves. I will say, I do think this one is potentially my least favorite within the series so far. I do think I've enjoyed the other ones more, but at the same time, we still need to recognize that this was incredible and very masterfully done. I think my only issue, and this might be something that happens more in the other ones, is I don't necessarily love, like, there's this whole subplot about gods and the summoning of gods and what that means for the crawlers and what it means for this world as a whole. And that subplot is not something that I'm necessarily invested in, I guess. I can't really get excited about a lot of what is going on there, just because I think it's just like, it's too much. It's too weird. And this plot, it was very complex, but in a way that I didn't find quite as interesting as the other ones. Like, book 3 was very confusing. It was following like a really weird map that was like a whole like maze basically, but I love that. And this one, just, it was like we had these 4 steps to go through to be able to beat this one level. And yeah, I don't know, that was not quite as much for me, not quite as something that was interesting. But again, still really enjoy it. Like, I can't say that it wasn't good. It was still fantastic. Ended off on like a crazy scene also that makes me intensely excited to get to the next one, which I'm sure we'll doing any day now. But yeah, done that one, 5 stars. And otherwise, I'm gonna try to finish this vlog off tonight. I can't remember what day I started this because I am a disaster this week, and I can't remember. I did not keep good enough track of when I was doing things. So I'm gonna try to finish this off tonight. I still have a few more hours and a few more hours of reading time. So I'd like to see if I can finish The Toll or Deadly Dreams. Just get another book finished off. Because yeah, I still have at least that plus Fool's Errand. So I still have 3 more that are ongoing, and it'd be nice if I could get like one of them done. I'm just gonna be reading for the next few hours. So if you can't tell, we finished reading last night, and then I did like no updates. So technically we are the next morning finishing this off. And what I did, I read this. That was like my huge focus for last night, was trying to get through this one. And I have some damage. Oh no, I have quite a bit of damage on this dust jacket. Maybe I do need to get the aluminum crate one. Maybe. So yeah, like it's really hard kind of like to figure out how I feel exactly about this one, because I really like wanted to enjoy this so much more than I did. And I think it's just like the most exciting climax of what happened in book 2 in this one. And that is when like, so much of the really exciting and interesting action was happening. So just because of that, like anything else that happened in book 3 was slightly a letdown. And also like in this one, it was hard because I feel like up until the first 50%, I was really enjoying this. Then for probably about 30%, I got kind of bored because it felt like things weren't necessarily moving, or they were moving, but it wasn't really like in a, like a fast way. It was just kind of stalling. And then the final 20% of this book, I felt like it just went off the rails, and not in a good way, just like off the rails in the sense that it like went in a completely different direction. All of this, like the entire plot completely changed, and it wasn't an interesting way. It wasn't a way that was explained very well. And at the same time, like I felt like, unless I'm like misremembering, I feel like a lot of the central conflict that was going on in the other books wasn't really resolved in this one, or like it wasn't in any interesting way. It just kind of was like one brief mention tension, and then it was on. And like, you know, that's disappointing. That's disappointing. I wanted to see a more intense ending, a more complete ending, like something that really, really would get me invested and really like feeling satisfied with what was going on. And I didn't. So I think that's definitely like the biggest issue that I'll bring forward with this one, is just like, didn't really give a satisfying ending, didn't really conclude a lot of the things that were going on in any way. And unfortunately, just kind of boring that way. Like it just didn't really lead to a lot of interesting places, and didn't really like, I don't know, like feel satisfying. So this one's 3 stars and really disappointing, because books 1 and 2 in this series were 5 stars for me. So that is disappointing, but we have finished another series. There is another book that I think is like short story collection. So we can say we're done this one. Very happy to have another series done, another book off my physical TBR. Those are all good things. And because I'm done that, we're now going to be wrapping this one up, or just this video up in general, which I think this was a decent attempt at, you know, getting a bunch of series done. I'm thinking next time I do this, I might just focus on my romance and romantasy series and just like try to fly through as many books as possible in those, because I have some that have like, you know, romantasy series that you can read in like 2 hours. Imagine if I could read like just how many of those I could potentially read in 1 week. That'd be amazing to see. So anyways, let me know if you're interested in that. And thanks for watching today's video. If you haven't already, would love if you would consider subscribing. And hopefully I will see you in a video very, very soon. Bye.